Directing traffic, gonna go deep, has a man deep. It is caught for the touchdown. Corey Davis.
What does he do? Attacks leverage. If he's outside leverage, he doesn't want you to beat him outside. So stem towards him, hold him outside, stab outside. Drive face, full cell vertical, get into the blind spot, and he absolutely burns him. Corner is lost. He literally has no idea where Wilson is.
Long, fast, how he approaches the game, how dedicated he is to football. He's ridiculously good, man. You have to be ecstatic.
This is actual film. This is actual football talk. It's a football show. We're supposed to talk football, not storylines.
And you are watching / listening to another edition of Blue Splits. I usually don't just go post-game live after that game to the Patriots where you're fighting to be in first place in your division, or you're going to be fourth place in your division, coming after a bye week, coming after obviously a down performance from Zach Wilson at MetLife Stadium against the Patriots, but a bounce back game against obviously a better Bills team than the Patriots. And we see a game where the Jets put up 2 fucking yards of offense in the second quarter, or the second half, sorry. Impromptu, so not in my normal setup. TV going, dogs here. So it's not going to be as technically refined, but holy shit, man. Like, holy shit. At a certain point, you kind of have to cut the quarterback off. And I think the proper thing to say for a streamer or anybody is to say, oh, we'll give them the rest of the year. Sure, yeah, because we kind of have to give them the rest of the year. But right now, if I had to bet a good amount of money who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Jets in 2022, it's Jimmy Garoppolo or it's Derek Carr. Zach Wilson's just not fucking it. And I put out a tweet, and it wasn't meant to be hyperbolic. There's passes that I see guys who are 15 beers deep, shotguns, ripping shots that they can hit that Zach Wilson can't hit. He can't hit a 3-yard screen pass sometimes. He tucks the ball after his first read's not open, and just panics. His accuracy's terrible. He missed Mims. You saw Garrett Wilson get frustrated. Apparently, Jordan Whitehead was frustrated after the game. He missed the Mims, and Mims threw his hands up. Listen, Mims should be the last fucking guy talking. The guy dropped a wide open ball over the middle. Last week, he had 2 or 3 drops. He had a penalty last week. So Mims, I'm done with that experiment too. But Zach Wilson is holding back a team that is legitimately ready to compete for a deep playoff run, if not a Super Bowl. Like, if you stack up this team and how they're performing, obviously you have to kind of the offensive numbers are skewed, but the offensive talent, and I know they lost ABT, they lost Brees, they lost all this stuff, but this team could make a deep run. Like this team with the Jimmy G or Carr could make a deep run. And Zach Wilson is severely holding them back. So I think next year, listen, I'm not saying right now you pull the plug. You still give them. I think they should bench him. I think at least next week you bench him and just to be fair to the team, I don't think it's fair to the rest of the team right now for Zach Wilson to be playing. And obviously these are post-game thoughts. You're always going to be a little bit more frustrated and not as level-headed, but there's no reason they shouldn't have benched Zach Wilson in that game. Mike White gives him a better chance. Chris Streveler gives him a better chance than Zach Wilson does that game. Legitimately. Like, he could hit a pass. He could hit a 4-yard pass. He had two plays that were almost drop picks. A Devin McCourty play was almost a drop pick. And then I think it was Jones on the right sideline where Denzel Mims, holy shit, he didn't attack the ball. He was going to catch it mostly with his body. And that ball was almost intercepted as well. So, like, it is really, really bad right now. And I know people are going to defend him because that's what people do. But tell me what Zach Wilson with a better roster. And again, I can acknowledge that we're on our 3rd string right guard. I can acknowledge that we're on our 2nd or 3rd string right tackle. I can acknowledge that we're on our backup left tackle, whatever. But the teams that Darnold had, the teams that Geno had, the teams that Sanchez had, obviously later in his career, were much worse than this team, and they've proven a lot more than him. I've seen some bad fucking football in my life. Bad. I've seen games where Bryce Petty started. I've seen games where Greg McElroy has started, and it was not as bad as that New England game. That was gross. Absolutely gross. Now, the defensive line, obviously, you got some sacks. You got Huff. You got JFM. You got Q, who had another big game. The linebackers and the safeties were absolute balls again. And I've been saying that for a little bit, that Whitehead's missing tackles. Joyner's missing tackles. Mosley missed a tackle or two, even though he had a few good plays, but it's still pretty high variance with him. Quincy Williams missed a few plays. Quan Alexander on the 3rd and 16 had a guy wrapped up and just let him run by him. Like, he barely tried to form tackle at all. So the tackling was piss poor by the second level. Thank God Nick Folk was MVP for the Jets offense, for the Jets team this game. He obviously missed 2 field goals. Score should have been 16-3. And I'm not even mad about it. The punt return is what it is. Like Braden Mann, he had a shank and then he had a line drive punt at the end of the game, which you never want to do. But like at this point, Zach Wilson. And the thing that's like, it's so Jetsy that we're 6-4, we're all happy, but we make the playoffs this year, right? Let's say the Jets pull off another 4 wins, because I know people are gonna say we can't with Zach, but we already have a 5-2 record, whatever it is with Zach. Let's say we win 10 games and sneak into the playoffs. Like, it means something, but it means as less as it could possibly mean because you don't have a quarterback. Like, cool, we made it, but you're not really going to go much of anywhere because you need at least decent quarterback play. Like, I would drop to my knees for Zach Wilson to be Jimmy Garoppolo at this point. Like, what are the chances? Would you be the way that Zach Wilson performed in this Patriots game, the other Patriots game, the Broncos game, and the Packers game? He's not a good backup at this point, and like it is brutal, guys. So I'm gonna get to some chat. I know you guys are frustrated. I'm frustrated. My wife is like sitting here with me watching the game. Obviously, it's an away game. I thought about going. Thank God I didn't. But her friend had a baby, so she went and it's seeing the baby while I'm home with the dog and stuff. So again, impromptu. I wasn't planning on drinking today. I got like 3 hours of sleep after work, but I found some high noons in my downstairs. So I'm drinking some high noons. I'm gonna have some margaritas later. Get Taco Bell. Fuck it. I'm just gonna throw my body into the wind at this point. Who cares? Who cares? Taco Bell margaritas. Margarita mix with 80,000 grams of sugar per 1 ounce. But yeah, I need to vent with you guys. So I was sitting there like boiled up with frustration because like it just really sucks. It really sucks that we had so much positivity going this game and some hope that maybe Zach Wilson could turn it around. But I've seen enough. He would have to have a massive turnaround just to be average at this point. Massive. He has the worst mental yips I've ever seen. Like, even before the game, like he kind of looks a little weird. And then as soon as he had that play, what was the play? I think it was a McCourty almost interception, like the second quarter. I'm like, that's it. He's fucking done. He's done. He cannot recover from a bad play like that. He cannot. He is the streakiest quarterback I've ever seen. And that's with much more bad streaks than good streaks. So Joe, horrifying, locking myself in my room for the night. Yeah, I need to talk with you guys. So my wife's like trying to understand like all this stuff and talk. I can't. I need to talk to Jets fans. Snoopy, oh my God, I'm over this QB. Joe. Yeah, let's be completely transparent here. Like, you have Jimmy Garoppolo or let's say Jacoby Brissett. You have Jacoby Brissett for those 2 Patriots games. We're 8-2 right now. Jacoby Brissett. He's a solid backup. That's all we're asking for. Well, that's not what we're asking for. But those minimal performances would have the Jets as an 8-2 record. Tied for the Chiefs right now for the best record in the conference. And atop the AC East. And another thing, excuse me, too, because my dog just got his balls taken off, which I hate to do that to my dog, but apparently it reduces cancer and stuff. But I got to keep checking on he's not ripping his stitches out because I'm not putting a freaking cone on his head. So I should be really mindful of the dog. So excuse me for the environment, the no mic and me watching my dog. I don't want to, again, can't rip stitches out. This one, HURT. Yes, HURT. It was absolutely brutal. And like, even if we win that game, it's like, okay, like awesome. Yeah, we want to make it to the playoffs. You get 11 wins. You make it to the playoffs, but it's based on what? We're gonna walk around the house. Hey. So let's keep going to the chat. Again, this is impromptu. I walk around my house. I'm gonna take care of the dog and everything. But Joe Locata, physical pain, yes. Yoshi, you can't make it up, man. Six sacks for the second straight game against the Pats, and you lose again. Yeah, you can't blame the defense at all. The only thing I was really disappointed in was obviously the linebackers. The linebackers were brutal in this game, specifically, and more the second level stuff from the guys like Joyner and Whitehead and Quan. And here's the barking dog who's being an asshole right now. Of course, doesn't bark all freaking day. And as soon as I get live, he starts to bark. So let's keep going through the chat. All right. LaFleur needs to do some soul searching. Yeah. LaFleur too, dude. Like even that third and, which by the way, I gotta watch that play again from Michael Carter the second or Michael Carter on that run. It was 3rd and 2, and it looked like he had a lane up the middle. And I don't know, it seemed, and I don't know the stats or anything right now, but it seemed he did not play a lot this game at all. Like Ty Johnson, I'm pretty sure off the top of my head out carried Michael Carter second. I don't know what that was about, but that last run did not look good from Carter. And then a couple plays in that game, like you're going empty again. You're doing some deep concepts, and Zach Wilson just can't hit anything. Like one of those last plays, like third and 12 or 13, and they run like 3 routes past the sticks and 2 checkdowns. Like there didn't seem like there was a lot of stuff over the middle. There wasn't a lot of creativity in terms of like end around and jet sweeps. When they did it, it didn't work regardless. But brutal from LaFleur. Oh, the one play too that I went absolutely crazy about. And let's be fair, let's be transparent about the Jets run game. The Jets run game, even in the Bills game last week, it absolutely sucked until the fourth quarter in that last drive. It sucked. It was terrible, like really, really terrible. And then turn it on for that, obviously for that one drive, which kind of it eliminates what people thought the prior 3.5 quarters, but they made it up, which great, but it was still shit. And then this game, it's absolute dog shit again. And then you have Mike LaFleur, who's running Ty Johnson up the middle on 3rd and 3. On 3rd and 3, when's the last? Like the Jets got like 1 carry for over 4 yards this game. Maybe I'm just misremembering because I want to jump out my fucking second story window right now, right on my face, and hopefully forget that game because my God, that offensive performance is the worst I've ever seen. It's really hard not to be frustrated. So again, I know I'm gonna get some shit like, oh, you're rage tweeting, you're rage streaming. Yeah, I am. We all deserve to be rage tweeting and rage fucking streaming and rage chatting right now. I need to rage chat with you guys. That's why I'm here. That was embarrassing from Wilson. Again, sorry if he barks. I can't. Usually I'm like, okay, well, my wife's home, I'll put him with her, all this stuff. But puppies bark. So if you're gonna be a bitch about it, then be a bitch. I'm just so done. If you punt that, make sure it's a fair catch punt, something not returnable. Yeah, no. And I said that too. Like there's plenty of blame to go around. Obviously, on the offensive side, drop passes, Mike LaFleur, obviously Zach Wilson, 10 times out of 10, it's him as well. But you cannot line drive that ball from man. And I think it was the drive prior. He had a punt that like went out. It was like what, a 35-yard punt, something like that. LaFleur don't get it. Listen, at this point, I get the LaFleur stuff, and yeah, LaFleur was bad this game, but this is about Zach. This is about Zach. Luke, Zach is not it, correct? Zach making excuses after the game and saying he didn't let down the defense makes me loathe him. I didn't see any of the post game stuff. So if you guys can throw some stuff in there, like some of the quotes and stuff, I'd appreciate that because I would like to hit on it. But I didn't see anything. What to say, LaFleur? Listen, you could have the best OC of all time out there, and Zach wouldn't have done anything in that game. He was just in his head. He just can't get over the Pats. And in general, again, listen, you're talking about how many games this year, and he looked okay versus the Dolphins. A lot of his yards came from obviously that one play to Breece Hall. Past that, Bills game, awesome, great game. But we're talking about one legitimately very good game in 7 starts in his second year with a really talented roster. And last game was a lot of simple stuff. Like he hit the simple stuff great, but like we need more than that eventually. Jets mess. What a shit show. Yes. Fuck, man. It's one game or over 2 or 500 overreacting is a fool's errands. I'm pissed too, though. John, it's not about. I'm not overreacting to the Jets sucking. If you think I'm overreacting to Zach Wilson, then tell me why. I've done a lot of film study, all that stuff, and tell me why I'm overreacting on Zach Wilson because I'm not. Listen, like I said, I still think the Jets can win 10 games. I think they probably will. I still think you beat the Jags, the Bears, and the Lions. Maybe you steal one from the Vikings, who again I think are a little bit of a paper tiger. Maybe you can steal one from the Seahawks. Great. They don't have their quarterback. He has to make a massive turnaround to be the quarterback. So I'm not saying the Jets are terrible. Their defense is sacked. Yeah, listen, there's some guys I don't like. I think Joyner's overrated. I think Whitehead consistently misses tackles. Quincy and Quan, Quan, whatever. He's $1.5 million. He missed a couple of big time tackles today. And Quincy is a guy who's 100% overrated by fans. I like him as more of a reserve guy, but him being a starting linebacker is not an ideal situation. He has too high a variance of good to bad. So Darnold sucked but never looked this bad. Now listen, like Darnold had the ghost game and all that stuff, but like Darnold his first year, he had the Lions game, he had the Colts game, he had the Broncos game, he had the Packers game, he had the Texans game. Zach has had like 2 to 4 good games, and like which one of them were legitimately like holy shit, that was really good. I would argue the Bucks and the Bills, even though they threw for 150 yards last week, like that was legitimately a good processing game for me, even with a simple game plan. The Bucks game was by far his best game, but that's the best. That's the best we put out. Like, come on, percentage share, blame Zach Wilson, LaFleur O-line. I mean, obviously, I don't love to do streams and stuff like without watching the film because I will go back on some of the stuff I say, obviously, because I'll go back and watch the game for 4 hours and watch concepts and all that shit. it's really Zach Wilson's 80% of it. Mike LaFleur, 15%. Like it's really hard to quantify that, Swolsey. They were all so bad. I want to give them a large percentage. Zach Wilson was the worst game I've ever seen, pretty much ever. Yeah, he didn't throw the ball directly to the guy's chest, but he kind of did with McCourty, just throwing it over whoever's head that was over the middle. Past that, yeah, LaFleur, and that's the thing you really have to go back and watch. I can tell you running on 3rd and 3 with Ty Johnson up the middle consistently is not a good idea when you can't run the ball. And the offensive line, again, we're on our 3rd string right guard. Obviously, it goes ABT and then ABT, Herbig, Feeney. Okay, you're on your at least 3rd string right tackle. You're on your 2nd string left tackle. So yeah, that's part of it. But there's in no world in 2022 should you have 2 yards of offense in the second half. I don't care if you run literally slants every single play from everybody. Somebody's going to be open. And the Pats did, and again, and I knew, and this is what worried me a little bit about the Pats is they're going to attack the middle of the field and take yak opportunities because the linebackers at times are a little bit slow to process and they miss a ton of tackles. And when you're attacking the middle of the field, who has to make the tackles? Linebackers and the safeties. And obviously, yeah, they'll make one great play and then they'll blow a tackle and let up a 3rd and 16. Like that one play, I don't know what play it was. You guys can tell me probably better than I can because I'm just enraged right now. That play in the second quarter, the Pats threw the ball, I don't know, 6-7 yards. There had to be 5 missed tackles on that play, and they get a first down. And I remember I was just I fucking slammed my computer, and wife gets mad or whatever, dog got scared, whatever. But holy shit, their tackling was brutal. So great job on the defensive line. But and even Reed, that one play to Devontae Parker, how many times? And again, I love our Jets cornerbacks, but they have to stop. And this could be a coaching thing too. This could be to Tony Oden, but how many times are our guys going to play off and open their hips and just allow guys for easy slants in the middle? If you just time it, if it's a good timing slant, it's your first read, you can hit it a lot. So while they're great, they have some stuff to clean up in terms of their technique. Third and 3, let's not play off and open our hips. It's gonna be impossible to match a guy in the middle. And I've said that consistently, and I'll show it again this week. Salah gonna lose. Yeah, dude. Listen, at this point, you clearly have Garrett Wilson who's pissed. You have Mims who doesn't deserve to be pissed, but he's pissed. You have Jordan Whitehead who's apparently slamming his helmet. Guys see this. Guys are watching the film and they know what's going on. They know that Zach Wilson lost in the last Patriots game. They know that Zach Wilson lost them, mainly him again. Like Michael LaFleur, some other people obviously contribute to it as well, but he was the primary reason for them losing the games. You go from 1st place to 4th place. Listen, now you just lost 2 games to the Pats. They're 6-4 as well. You have the Bengals who you lost a game to. You have the Ravens who you lost a game to. So they might win 10 games again and not make the playoffs. And again, if you make the playoffs, fucking dandy, great, awesome. Does it matter if Zach Wilson's the quarterback he's been throughout these 7 games, right? It matters, sure. We all feel great. We broke a 12-year drought or whatever it's been, but you're not going to make it far. And again, if you have Jimmy G on this team, you're 8-2. And you're not going to convince me differently because Jimmy G puts up 6 points in the Jets team at the end right there. Jimmy G doesn't throw 3 picks versus the Pats in another game. Brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. So LaFleur is shocking as well. Every second down running the ball. Yeah, not a lot of creativity. Very, very predictable from Mike LaFleur. Joe, we can't just rely on QB vet. I would draft one too. Yeah, but how much capital are you going to invest? If Jimmy G if you're going to sign Jimmy G, it's going to be a 2-3 year contract, and then you're going to throw more capital into it. Now, would I draft Jimmy G or would I sign Jimmy G or get Carr and then draft the guy maybe in the 3rd, 4th round to develop him behind him? Yeah, sure. But I think your answer is a vet quarterback. You cannot throw this team with all the talent in the hands of another quarterback again, because listen, if he doesn't work out, you just wasted all this talent, because at the end of the day, yes, this team is built for long-term success. It is, because it's a young team. Joe Douglas is drafted. He's traded well, but you're going to have to pay Sauce. You're going to have to pay Brees. You're going to have to pay Michael Carter the second. You're going to have to pay ABT. You're going to pay all these guys that were gloating up. They're going to get paid. Bryce Huff, he consistently makes plays. He's making fucking chump change right now. You have to pay him $7-8 million, $6, $7, $8 million. DJ Reed in 2 years after this year is not going to come back for $11 million. He keeps playing the way he's playing. Wilson was a shit show. He was scared out of his mind, had absolutely no idea what to do with the ball. It was embarrassing. Again, legitimately, I'm not just being hyperbolic here. You put Chris Shoveler in that game, do we win that game? Maybe at first, like Zach, at the first quarter and a half, like, okay, he's processing pretty well. He hit Mims. Mims dropped it. Going to be a defensive kind of game. I was okay with it. He ran for a couple of first downs, but as soon as he threw that almost pick to Jason McCourty, I'm like, here comes bad Zach, because he is just so in his head. And that's the hardest thing about scouting and trying to evaluate quarterbacks, receivers, corners, doesn't matter. It is such a mental part of the game. What's that like? What is that like? It's like Mike Shadona. What the fuck's that guy's name from Linkin Park? It's like 90% mental part of the game. Like, that's what it is. Like NFL is 90% mental. You have a bunch of freak athletes all over the place, but it's mental, and it's hard to predict that. You have guys who look great in college processing, or you have guys like Mims who are amazing hands catcher in college, and then he comes into the NFL, he's open across the middle, and he jumps and tries to catch the ball, and he fucking drops it. Like, how do you predict that? You can't. It's impossible, and that's why being a GM is so hard. Like, how do you see that stuff? Now, if there's sprinkles of it in while you're evaluating, while you're scouting players, yeah, you could pick up on that. But some of the shit comes out of nowhere, dude. Like, out of nowhere. Zach was all about hitting outside throws in college on the money, and now he can't hit shit on the outside. At least our defense is elite. Yeah, it's a very good defense. Again, minus 37 missed tackles. From the linebackers and safeties are not elite. The secondary, yeah, great, but Joyner's got to go. Whitehead, to me, is he worth $7 million next year? No, I think you could find a $5 million, $4 million guy who plays better than him. Whitehead has been overrated since the day they signed him. He misses so many tackles, it's ridiculous. And yeah, he had one big tackle, but one good for one bad does not outrace the bad. And I know the little stupid mark on my screen. I get it. People are gonna be like, "Oh, scratch." I don't know what that is. It came off the other day, but now it's still there. Whatever. So you need like 4 or 5 good plays to wipe out a bad play to me. Now it's not 1 for 1. If you're having every other play be bad, or every other 2 or 3 plays be bad, you're a bad player. You cannot have that inconsistency in the NFL. Dang the spot a few minutes into the stream. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. No use to the tight end. Yeah. Conklin, Conklin he didn't show up at all. Like, and that's something I said that I wanted him to do. In the last Pats game, they did a little bit. They attacked the middle of the field with guys like Conklin. Like, where were they in the route concepts this game? Like, it seemed like a lot of stuff was deeper downfield and outside. Nothing was over the middle. And the Pats were just seemed like cover one hole a lot of the time. Maybe cover one robber or cut, whatever you want to call it. But like, it didn't seem like they're doing anything crazy. My God, man. On someone with Zach, the problem is Mike White and Flacco are probably worse. They were not worse. Now, in some games, yes. Could Flacco have come back against the Steelers? Maybe not. Could Flacco have won the game against the Bills last week? Maybe not. But Joe Flacco is not having the performance Zach did in either one of these Patriots games. I've never seen Flacco play that bad. I have no words. Yeah, I don't understand why they keep throwing it on first down. Where was the Jets' heavy personnel? Yeah, a lot of questions about personnel and stuff like that I'll have to go back to. On the last drive, yeah. It was a curl. I don't know exactly what the read was. I don't know if he was 1 or 2 or whatever it was, but he runs a curl and the ball is coming towards him. And Zach, it's obviously the ball could have been jumped, but at a certain point, you have to trust your receiver to come back to the ball. I consistently see why Mims does not play. Do we see it now? And I get like, yeah, that big catch last week. Awesome, that big catch last week. He also caught the ball. It bounced off his chest into his hands. That's not a way you want to catch a ball. So he had a penalty, 2 or 3 drops, and a ball that hit his chest that if the DB played it semi-well, it's a pass deflection because he didn't attack it. And then this week, he has a drop and a ball that he could have easily came back to and probably caught it, but he waits for the ball. He sits down and waits for the ball to come to him, and DB jumps it. So I'm not saying it's a good throw by Zach, but Mims has to help him out there too. So Mims is trash, dude. He's garbage. I'm done with the Mims thing too. And yeah, he made a deep. That was the most disgusting 35, 40-yard catch I've ever seen in my life. Like, it probably should have been an OPI, but like, Jesus, dude, it was painstaking to get 5 yards this game. Zach is so frustrating. He's so flash of elite talent. But he can't be a fucking game manager. Yeah, but those flash of elite talent are few and far between. Like, flash of elite talent when he bails out of the pocket and then takes a sack. He shows elite lateral mobility. How often does he show that elite talent? Like, okay, the Titans game a couple of plays. That throw to Mims over the middle on the dig. His release, his athleticism, just in terms of like escaping guys, is top notch. But the game is 90% mental, and he severely lacks mentally. Severely. Now, yeah, he'll have a good drive or 2 or whatever, mentally, but it's few and far between. He stinks. Yep. I'm usually a fan of Michael Floyd, but this is really rough. No one on the offense did anything today. 3 points. Did we have 100 yards? Did we? Tell me. I don't know if we had 100 yards. It's 2022. I don't care how good the Pats are. I don't care about anything. The Pats are not the 85 fucking Bears. They're not the 2000 Ravens. Like they're a good defense. Don't get me wrong. 2 yards in the second half. 2. Now maybe I don't know if that's like a lockdown or whatever. That's what I saw. 2. They could have QB sneaked it the entire second half and probably had more yards, even though they can't. They can't stop a QB sneak, but they can't stop one. They can't run one though. That is for sure. So plain and simple, Zach isn't it, and yeah, I'm done. He has to really come back, but I'm not defending him. Like after that the first Pats game, I was like done and trying to you try to be level headed and all that stuff, but and I would like nothing more to look like an asshole and somebody clip it in 7 months when Zach is dominating. But right now, it's he's not it. Like I am very, very in the boat of getting Jimmy G or Carr, and I know Carr's having a bad year, and I'd have to look into the problems of okay, well he has, and I know offensive line's a problem, but like he has Waller, he has Devonta Adams. So what is the problem with him? So the argument of Carr versus Jimmy G is something I don't want to be doing right now, but right now, there's 154 people in here. I don't know if that includes me, but I'm pretty sure maybe 4 of you are going to say you'd rather have Zach. If right now you say Zach, Jimmy G, or Carr, either one of those for the start of 2023, who are you going to have? I think 150 of you are going to say Jimmy G or Carr. We've seen bad quarterback play before. Again, I've seen Bryce Petty, Greg McElroy start games for the Jets. I've not seen a game this bad. And this is back-to-back Patriots game, like the worst games I've ever seen quarterbacked. So, Sanchez had a bad team for years. He didn't have performances like this. Like, get Geno back? I don't know what's going on, man. Moore, Barros, and Johnson were the secret weapons today. Yeah, listen. I have no idea why Ty Johnson. Like, what are the stats this game? Jets, Patriots, box score. Let's see some box score stats for who 10-3. Can I scroll down on this page? No, I can't. Of course, because fucking Apple's computers suck. Oh man, you click on page and you just can't scroll. You can only see the top half of the page. Like, what is this? Oh, I guess he actually had less carries than I thought he did. He had 4 carries. Okay, 4 carries. Michael Carter had 8. All right. They averaged 2.6 yards per carry. Nice. That is very, very ideal. Lamar J. Stevenson, again, 9.3 yards per catch. Like, dude. Damian Harris, 8 carries, 65 yards. Like, the run defense to a certain extent was disappointing, and then the tackling. I'm not going to excuse the defense for the tackling in this game. The defensive line, great, awesome, but like the Pats drove it down our throats twice in a row, and Nick Folk missed field goals. Like, yeah, cool. It was a good defensive game from the defensive line, but past that, Sauce had a really nice punch out. Okay, but Quincy, Quan, Joyner, Whitehead, disgusting. It was gross. It was gross. All they needed was one drive, and they had how many chances in the fourth quarter, Chris? All you had to get was field goal. Like I tweeted, like I wish the Jets would just score 6 points in a game. I'm asking for 6. We are asking for 6 points in an NFL game because they scored 10. I get that, but they had plenty of chances to just put up 6, and the game could be done. If they get a first down, and they got a first down late in the game because what was the penalty? Illegal contact downfield or some shit. So yeah, we need 3 more points. They couldn't get a first down. Like, they got 1 first down in the second half, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Zach Wilson needs to be benched next week. Yeah, dude. Again, the locker room's close and stuff, but you start losing games strictly because of quarterback and he's not getting benched. It can cause some riffles. Again, maybe I'm crazy. I've seen Mike White throw 3-4 picks versus the Bills, whatever that game was. Does Mike White lose that game? Does Chris Streveler win the Jets that game? I don't know. What more can you ask your defense to do? Yeah, it's again, I'm not killing deep. Like, at the end of the day, they let them drive. Yeah, they missed field goals, aided them. But when they got as soon as the Pats got past the 50-yard line, the Jets turned into the 85 Bears. Like, sacks, good tackles. Now, am I frustrated with some of the missed tackles? 100%. Like, I don't know how many missed tackles they had this game. It had to be 6, 7, 8 easily. It might have been 3 in that one play. You know, you have Quan in the 3rd and 16, missed a tackle. You have another play, it's like 3rd and 12. There's like 3 or 4 guys who missed tackles, including Mosley, I believe. Joyner, Whitehead is bad. Thanks for an honest assessment, Zach. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. There's no way around it. I get we want to be positive and we're Jets fans, and him succeeding is the path, or is the most linear path of success for the Jets, and the easiest way, because you don't have to pay Jimmy G $25 million a year, $30 million a year, whatever it's going to freaking be. But this is what we want in 2023. He has to have a massive turnaround in the last couple of games, and not just putting up 200 yards versus the Jags. Like, I need to see legitimate progress, not this shit. Brutal. Where do you rank this O-line performance? Again, it's always really hard to watch that. Like, O-line on broadcast is hard. I didn't see many holes, but how do you see holes from the broadcast angle? So you have to look at, you know, how did Zach perform in terms of getting rid of the ball? Like, there was plays late where I saw, okay, the Pats were stacked in the box with 6-7 guys, and of course they're going to get there, and he's holding the ball. So a part of it could be Zach as well, and I know a part of it is Zach as well. Now, how much that comes later in the week. This is a stupid rant thing. Now, in terms of the actual, like, where do you rank his O-line performance, I really got to go back and watch. I don't want to talk about that. You got to drink after that. Yeah, I'm like talking too much and I'm not putting some down. So let me see some more of the chats here. GBH, with all the records in AFC, doesn't seem like, yeah, GBH, I'm not sure if you watched the last stream, but Kyle and I went through the Bengals, the Chargers, all those teams. 10 wins might get you in. Might. It's not a guarantee, though. Obviously, depends on how the Chargers do, how the Bengals do, how some of those other teams do. The Patriots still have to play, you know, some hard teams. But listen, we're tied with if we're tied with the Bengals at 10-6, we're not getting in. If we're tied with the Ravens at 10-6, the Ravens have an really easy schedule. They're not going to be 10-6. You know, we're tied with the Pats 10-6. We're not getting in. You know, so hopefully the Chargers win 9 games, but. And their schedule is not easy, but it's the Chargers have a lot of talent. They get Keenan Allen back. They get some of these players back. Like, damn. So there's a very good chance that there's at least a solid chance they don't make it at 10 wins. But again, even if you make it, great. We win a game, or like we win the wild card round. Awesome. Like, we feel great, and I get that, and I would feel amazing too. I'll probably be there. But at the end of the day, without a massive turnaround for the quarterback, we're gonna need a new one in 2023. At least bring in a guy. Listen, bring in Jimmy G. You're not cutting Zach Wilson. Let them compete. If he beats out Jimmy G, holy shit, great. Good luck. Good luck, because they are easily 8-2 with Jimmy G. Easily. You know. So we have to draft a QB next class. Yeah. Well, again, I don't think the Jets trade up and draft a quarterback now, unless like some. I don't see it. I see the Jets solving quarterback in free agency or via trade. And then you draft a guy to develop behind him. But I don't know if they just – because, listen, at the end of the day, they're going to be what? Let's just say 22nd pick to trade up to the top 3. How much capital is that going to take you? And then you dump all that capital into a guy who's a huge question mark instead of supplementing your roster with, you know, another safety, linebacker, offensive lineman, whatever it would be. So I'm cool with a 3rd, 4th round pick. You sign one of those guys, you retain some of your guys, and then your 1st, 2nd round picks is, you know, offensive lineman, safety, linebacker. Like, those are your top 3 picks, right? So it's free agency. Listen, the Raiders, they're gonna probably blow it up. You hopefully the owner has enough money to fire Josh McDaniels, and McDaniels new coach wants to start off with the top of the class quarterback, top of the 2023 NFL draft quarterback, and Carr is gone, and they get a trade for him. I would sign that line for Carr right now next year. And obviously, again, I would want to go back and watch, but like, yeah, he struggled. And I get he's having a bad year. Now, in what context? I have to go back and obviously quantify how bad it's been. But I have a lot more faith in Derek Carr into being a better quarterback than Zach Wilson in 2023. High noon's not strong enough. Yeah, I am waiting for my wife to pick up some more tequila. I have some like mix, but my tequila to mix is like 75% to 25%. Like, you don't need a lot of mix. So I have probably like a margarita's worth of tequila in there for me. So Boyden trade inside. I've been team Zach the whole time, but after today he's got to go. Yeah, again, he has the rest of the season, but I don't know if he plays next week. I don't know if you keep him on the field. No, I think organization, like they probably do, because you want to see if he is the answer. He maybe has that Hail Mary % shot, that Raiders versus the Jets shot in 2021 Hail Mary at the end of the game. Hopefully, they're up against the Greg Williams defense. Zach Wilson is the answer, but Jesus, man. Yeah, Zach totally has mental yips yet. They will lose every game. No, listen, at the end of the day, like they play really, really bad teams. The Bears defense is not the Patriots defense. Like they're gonna put up some points on the Bears, they'll put up some points on the Lions. They're still gonna win games. Zach Wilson is not going to be this bad because something about the Pats just obviously completely fucks him up. So he's not gonna have a game probably this bad for the rest of the season. Maybe in Buffalo or something like that. So I still think the Jets win 3-4 games. I right now I said 11 wins. I'm expecting 10, but now it's like 9-10, not 10-11. So you hope to get 10 wins. You hope it gets you in the playoffs. But again, at the end of the day, awesome, yippee, playoffs. Okay, it's awesome. I get it. Like as a Jets fan, I want to make the playoffs forever. But you don't have a quarterback. That's the reason. Like we all said, let's be transparent before the season. We would if we finish 7-9. It's not 7-9. Is it 7-9 anymore? No, 7-10. 8-9, but Zach Wilson proves to be the answer at quarterback, we're okay. And I'd much rather have 7-10 with Zach Wilson showing legitimate signs of being the future quarterback than being 10-7 and me absolutely knowing he's not the answer and having to get a quarterback next year. Now, the positive outlook of that is, okay, well, if you know he's not the answer and your roster is that stacked, we can win with an absolute dog shit quarterback. If you can win 10 games with absolute dog shit quarterback, then why can't Derek Carr or Jimmy G, lead us to a Super Bowl. So, let's see. Look, there were no butt fumbles. There are positive takeaways. Sure. Your dog still has more balls than Zach. Yeah, my dog really has no balls. So, at least he's a sack. I still feel bad, but he's all right. He's all good. Yeah, see, I'm not giving up on the team. I'm really not. I'm done with the quarterback. I'm not done with the Jets. I like Saleh. I still like where they're going. I like a lot of their pieces they have. They're still 6-4, but they're 6-4 despite their quarterback. They won despite their quarterback in that Packers game. They won despite their quarterback in that Broncos game, right? Like, go back and watch. The film reviews are out there. Go back to those. If you're a subscriber, go back and watch the Zach Wilson sections. They're probably 30, 40 minutes long, and he gets eviscerated in those performances. He got eviscerated. So I've been all in solid. Zach can't help that. He sucks. I think at a certain point you need to bench him. Like even if you bring him back next game, like you have to send a message to him like, this is not acceptable. It was not acceptable. And the teammates can't be excited about this guy. Like you're in that locker room right now. Like what are they thinking? There was a point in the fourth quarter where he's where I don't know exactly when it was, but like he's like saying like let's go, like pumping up his hands to his team. I'm like, shut the fuck up, like hit a pass, bro. Don't tell me let's go. That one thing. It was like what game was that? Where he's like, oh, time to grow up. Oh, the Broncos game, right? Time to grow up, like when AVT went out or whatever, and Brees went out. Why don't you grow up, bud? You think Jets are gonna make the playoffs? I think it's like 50-50 shot right now. I would say 50-50. But again, it's so Jetsy that we would make the playoffs, and it means the least it could possibly mean because it's literally because despite the quarterback. So Zach feels he did not let the team defense down for how he played. Did he say that? Because that was the thing too. Like the one I stuck with quotes and stuff. I don't really watch like a lot of the interviews all the time, but like I think it was after the last Pats game. Like he said, like, oh, the team played. We have to play better as an offense. As a quarterback, even if you play well, you'll see quarterbacks who play well and they'll be like, oh, I didn't play well enough. Like you'll see, and I know people hate Rodgers because he's the first guy to come to mind. Let's not say Rodgers. Let's say, I don't know, Josh Allen sucks recently too. Let's say Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes will throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they'll lose, and they'll ask him about the offense, and they'll be like, yeah, I wasn't good enough today. We lost the game. But Zach Wilson will throw 97 yards, 45 interceptions, and can't hit a screen pass, and will say, yeah, the offense must be better. It's not me. Or not just take blame. Shoulder it. Even if it's not you, shoulder it. Like that's immature to me. We're gonna be stuck with fucking Derek Carr now. Team is a joke. We'll never do anything. Listen, at the end of the day, Joe, if the Niners can make it to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, with the way the Jets defense is playing and the offensive talent they have and the offensive skill positions they have coming back next year and the capital we have to improve the depth of the roster, we could make a run. Like to be completely frank, Joe, the Derek Carr would be the Jets quarterback since what? Since what? Hold on. Oh my God. So you want to know the combo of things that just happened to me? My phone dropped down the crease of my couch. I was trying to text my wife back, and then I'm trying to reach for my phone, and I spilled my Heinen on the floor. So you have to give me a second while I clean that up before she walks in. She's like, "What the? You really spilled this Heinen on the floor, and you're not going to clean that up?" So just give me a second while I get this shit. God, this sucks. Everything sucks. After this debacle, we go 8-9. No, I would still say nine wins is the minimum. If it's 8, we have a serious problem. So, Jesus, man, this is just all time awful. Hold on, now I got to text my wife back via computer because we freaking I dropped my phone in the couch. Okay, hold on. Let me see. How do I do this on a Mac? I don't know. All right. Keep going to the chat. I'm gonna answer all your. I'm gonna go through all your stuff and rant a little bit more. Then I'll be off. Why is Ty Johnson playing at all? I don't know. I legitimately do not know. The guy is terrible. So, and running him on 3rd and 3 when you can't run the ball at all was all time bad by Mike LaFleur. All time bad. At least Sanchez can manage a game. We moved on too quickly. Not too quickly. No. We did not move on too quickly from Darnold. Darnold was absolute dog shit as well. We did not. Now I will give Darnold the excuses of okay, the roster was bad, the coaching was bad, all that stuff. But we did not move on from Darnold too quickly. That is not true. I'm not on that train. Zach cannot go into next season as a starter without having to beat someone in camp for the job. 100% at the minimum. Yeah, receivers were frustrated with Wilson the whole game. How could you not be? This is a top defense. Zach can't be allowed to sink the season. Yeah. Again, at the end of the day, Gary, like if the Jets are, 4-6 instead of 6 and well, maybe even worse than that. But let's just say 4-6 instead of 6-4, then you're not going to make the playoffs anyway. So ride it out. But when you're competing for a playoff spot, it's unfair to the rest of the roster. It's legitimately. It's a problem. Bart Scott was right. He is not a mature football player. He's not mentally and clearly in the media. He's been a little bit of a bitch after his last 2 games. Take the blame, even if it's not your fault. Take the blame. That's what a leader does. You're the quarterback. You're the leader of the team. You shoulder the blame no matter what. And when you play that piss poor and you still don't take the blame, it's a really, really, really bad look. Really bad look. So did they have a game plan? If so, yeah. So this is the thing. I think I have to go back and watch again. I wasn't thrilled with Mike LaFleur this game, but I think if you drew up the best game plan of all time, Zach Wilson won't execute this game. He was brutal. So listen, I think it's like a default, or some people have a default to blame coaches, but when you have a quarterback playing that bad, it's really, really hard to succeed. Really hard. And trust me, Mike LaFleur will get shit on the show this week. 100%. I miss Breece Hall. Yeah, we don't win that Broncos game without Breece Hall. Thank God Breece Hall had that big touchdown run before he went out of the game, because they were not winning that game. So, yeah. What about the pass to Ty Johnson on the sideline, 3rd and long, that he completely underthrew? Completely underthrew it. The QB sucks, and the coaching is suspect. The offensive coaching was suspect this game. Again, when you have a quarterback playing that bad, it is very, very hard. But there is no doubt Mike LaFleur struggled this game as well. They run it. What was it, like 3rd and 2? Was it 3rd and 2? Yeah, it was 3rd and 2. They no. I think it was 2nd and 2 later in one of the drives, and then they passed on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 2, but then they run on 3rd and 3. So and they just had a couple successful runs. Like James Robinson had a couple of good runs prior to, and then we passed back to back. And Zach Wilson had the backside of a barn, or the broadside of the backside, the broadside of a barn. So Zach Wilson, yeah. If you're excusing Zach Wilson, it's whatever Kyle was it, red, blue pill, white pill, black pill, I don't give a fuck what it is. You're making excuses. That's bad of a quarterback game you'll see. ever. And again, we've seen Bryce Petty, and we've seen maybe the only way we'd see a worst quarterback performance is if our second round pick and Christian Hackenberg actually played an NFL snap. An NFL snap that actually counted. So, rigged refs, how much does Lamar want? Yeah, I think he gets tagged. I don't think he's going to be gone this year, but if the Jets can find a way, I would give up my entire draft. You give him your first, your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth, your sixth, your seventh, your next year's first for Lamar Jackson. Who says no? Sounds crazy, right? But for Lamar Jackson, a guy who's a top 10 quarterback, you give up your entire draft. You give up 2 drafts for Lamar Jackson. Would you? I would give if the Ravens call right now and said, hey, it never happened, it'd be tampering or whatever, but hey, your this year's first, second, third, next year's first, second, third from Lamar Jackson, you're doing it. I'm doing it. Hopefully those 4th round picks hit. Checking Jenkins, hey Joe, usually I'm trying to be funny with you, but this was heartbreaking. Even if it went to OT and we would have won. Yeah, no, that's what I had the feeling for the Broncos game. It's like, yeah, cool, we won. Awesome. But again, I say it almost too much, but process versus results. The process and how we got there was terrible. Maybe score more than 3 points, yeah. Is cannabis legal in New Jersey? Joe needs to join. Yes, it is, but it's not legal for cops yet. So it might be legal for cops soon. It's a gray area. If it ever is, sure. I would love one, but there's a legitimate reason to be frustrated. It's not the Jets blew it last second. They lost 24-23. We actually played a good game, but we had one bad play. The entire game was brutal. We have two yards in the second half. Two. We need a QB and a healthy O-line. Yeah, the O-line has been terrible. GVH, no orbit runs, no creativity. Ty Johnson playing a game with Dan Feeney. Yeah, no, the creativity was bad. Emptying, again, I think there was a lot of deep consistency in this game, and LaFleur went away from what he did with Buffalo. The fact that Ty Johnson's running the ball even 4 times is too many times, especially when Michael Carter has 8. Like, why is Michael Carter not getting those runs? Is he tired? The offense is on the field for 3 plays. Every drive, 3 plays, punt. He's not tired. Defense is tired. Derek Carr, yes. That's listen. Lamar Jackson's the number one. You could argue Carr versus Jimmy G to me because Carr would probably cost more than Jimmy G. I think because he's on a contract, if they trade for him, whatever, not just going to cut him. So he's going to cost you capital plus a contract. Where Jimmy G is, obviously going to be just a contract. But what is Carr? Again, it's hard to quantify because I haven't watched him. But Carr is, at least prior to this year, I put him in like that 13 to 15 type range of quarterbacks, where Jimmy G is probably like 18 to 22. Now, did Carr drop? Like how you feel about that Carr in the system versus Jimmy G, who's been in the system for years. But that's my answer right now. Yeah, it's true. Chad Pennington. It's been how long? Chad Pennington left what in what was that, 2008? It's been 14 years since we've had a quarterback. We're like, okay. And it's not like Chad Pennington lit the world on fire. So we're going to beat the Bears. I agree. Justin Fields is the QB we needed. Yeah, and the thing is, and I'm not going to – I like Zach Wilson's film a lot more in college, but it is very, 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 very hard to predict the yips. Like it's almost impossible. Like if a guy consistently is showing you mental processing in college and he hits it, okay, you hope it translates. But then you have the games like this where the guy is just clearly in his own head. Again, he's like, and he's hitting a lot less of the threes that Steph Curry hits. Like he'll hit that turnaround fadeaway 3 from almost at the midline, but then he'll miss a layup because he thinks he has to make the layup because people make fun of him if he doesn't make the layup. And then he won't blame himself on not making the layup. He'll blame the fucking rim. Or the floors were a little slippery. Wasn't me. There were times pre-snap defender was 10 yards off the wideouts, easy 7-yard pickup. And that's what he did last game. Like last game, you'd see him pre to post snap pick up that guys were going to be open quickly and hit them. And he was taking the 4, 5, 6-yard gains last game. Now, I saw less of it this game in terms of the concepts and how LaFleur is dialing it up. But, dude, my God. If we don't win against the Bears, I like right now, like, listen, it's almost, and I don't think it's like a good way to say it, but like we could win 10 games and our season feels like over. Like, if you don't have a quarterback, what do you have? So, but again, now if they sign Jimmy G or Carr, okay, I feel a lot different because again, one of those quarterbacks right now, you're 8-2 very, very easily. You beat the Patriots both both times. You're 8-2, right? Tell me I'm wrong. We're first place in the AFC, tied for first place in the AFC right now with Jimmy G. And then you bring him in, you get a healthy O-line, you get a healthy Breece Hall, you supplement the team with some backups. Again, you get rid of Joyner, maybe you get rid of Whitehead. You get another starting linebacker because I think Quincy should be a backup. Yeah, Greg, like credit to him from hitting those field goals. Like we make a field goal, it's like 42 yards at the wind. What was it, like delay of game? Was it delay of game? I was like, dude, like I can't. I told him I was like, I can't do this shit. I can't do this. They hits again. I'm like, thank God. Whole defense misses tackles. Yeah, the whole defense did. Reed did. Gardner maybe missed a tackle. Quan definitely did. Mosley definitely did. Quincy definitely did. Like Whitehead 100% did. So yeah. D-line and corners said that's it. Yeah, no, I think at the like, listen, if Whitehead is your worst player on team on your defense, it is what it is. But you need a starting safety at the minimum, and I would say starting safety and a linebacker this upcoming year. And again, Joyner's not back. Quincy is not under contract next year, and neither is it's Quan. Quan's not coming back for $1.5 million. He's not. So worst part is Johnny not getting his ice cream today. Yeah, fuck. Listen, Johnny just got into the game. I don't feel bad for Johnny. I feel bad for me and you guys, the guys who've been enduring the shit for 20, 30 years, 40, some of you 60 years you've been enduring this shit. Johnny will live. I love Johnny, but he'll be fine. He's having too much ice cream anyway. I'm over it. Yeah, let's see. Will Lamar be available? Probably not. I would venture to guess not. Do they just get rid of him? Like they're gonna at least tag him, right? At the minimum, you tag and trade him. Thomas Del Rosa Jets. I actually clicked on your name because I thought it was my friend. But Jets next team flight should land on Ocean. In the Ocean, Wilson disgraced to the NFL uniform. Right now, you're not happy as Zach Wilson as your backup. He's not a top 10 backup. Like, I'm taking Brissett over him. I'm taking a few guys over him right now. Like legitimate to win a game. Are you taking Zach Wilson over Jacoby Brissett? He's not better than Jacoby Brissett right now. No way. Absolutely no way. Is Carr a free agent? He's not a free agent. Charles, he's making a lot of money. The Raiders are going to absolute shit. So I think they move on with a pick as high as they're going to have. I think they try to restart and get a quarterback, especially with some of the stuff they're talking about, or Carr's talking about, like losing the locker room and all this stuff. I think it's done. So I'm way behind the chat. So I'm sure I either got roasted or you guys agree with me. Regardless, 3rd and 1. Why don't they run the ball up the gut? Have they lost confidence in the O-line? You cannot call a wide receiver screen with 56. Okay, so it's 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1 they pass, right? And 3rd and 1 they passed, and 4th and 1 they punted. But I don't get it. They're gonna get absolutely shit on in the film review this week. So for the people who are in here who watch that, it's not gonna be ugly. It's not gonna be pretty. Who wants to watch it anyway? I don't want to do it. You want to watch it? Why? Yeah. Football is rigged. You're all being deceived. The players don't give a shit about you. Okay. Trying to dissect this. No, the players do not care about me. They do not care about you. They don't care about JP or Eagle Thing or Tyrone Ogletree or GBH or Rusty Spooner because they don't know us. But they care about the money and winning. They don't care about the fans really. Like they care about obviously they like getting the Pepsi Rookie of the Week and hearing loud stadiums and getting supported. But like individually, no, they don't care about us. Obviously, I don't know really, but it's not rigged. Being deceived. Thomas, do you believe the Earth is flat? Just a question. I have that feeling. Mike White would have been better this game. Chris Shevler would have been better this game. Joe Flacco would have been better this game. Greg McElroy probably would have been better this game. Bryce Petty, who learned defenses from Madden, might have been better this game. Signing Carr, Jimmy G is the Andy Dalton effect. Hope they could be. Yeah, okay, but to be fair to Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Andy Dalton ever was. And Andy Dalton was actually decent with the Bengals. The Bengals always just sucked. Like, I feel like Andy Dalton was Jimmy G on a bad team, where we have a better team. We have a better team than the Bengals did with Andy Dalton. So, but Derek Carr is not a jag of a quarterback, and Jimmy G is not a jag of a quarterback either. Like, Jimmy G, while he's on that very bottom rung of what you want, and he's probably not. You don't really want him, but he was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. If you just hit the easy pass in this offense and process with guys like Brees coming back and AVT and the offensive line hopefully solidifying the defense they have, you don't need much more. So what is the answer? Listen, do I say is it my preferred option? Do I love that I'm saying get Carr or Jimmy G? No, but I'd much rather have that than Wilson. Wilson is much worse than a Jag right now. He's not just a guy. He's terrible. Terrible. So Mims is not good. Yeah, Mims is not good. Tell me what he did well last week, even if, again, hit a big catch where he ran a slant that he took way too vertical. When that slant with a guy on your outside shoulder, you got to cut that flat so he's not able to work into where you catch the ball. And you watch that catch. I broke it down. It literally hits him in the chest, bounced off his chest into his hands. It was a terrible catch. It was terrible. And he dropped another pass, and he dropped the vertical pass where, it was a hard catch to catch the vertical pass, but it was also because he ran it wasn't a good route. So, and he had a penalty. And then this game he had a drop. And then Wilson overthrew him and he's throwing his hands up. Bro, no. Not you, Mims. Not you, Mims. You do not get he's not get the right to bitch. I'm done with the Mims thing too. Man, dude, like, again, it's a mental thing. Baylor loved them. Year one, loved them. They drafted a second round receiver. I had food poisoning and they signed a guy. Now my mental is fucked up. Oh my God. Like, fuck that, dude. He's soft too. So I'm not even on Mims either. I'm done with that shit. I'm like, let's not making excuses for these guys. I think somebody blocked 69 XXX likes. I can't block it in here, so thank you for whoever did that. I'm not on YouTube, so I can't see if they're blocked or not. I see every chat no matter what. What's up, Ronald? They spied Zach. I saw that one spy. I don't think they did it the entire game. Now you could see a cover one hole or a robber and think it's a spy, but it's not a spy. There was that one play they did spy Zach though. At least there's at least a couple plays. So, yeah. If Zach hasn't figured it out yet, even minor improvements, he's not the guy, and he hasn't. You have a couple of decent games, awesome. Give me Baker, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not what you want. Dude, I'm happy to see you. I'm so pissed. Yeah, Rich. I'm not happy to see you. I would not live stream if the Jets won that game. Like, even if they blew them out, I probably wouldn't live stream. But like, being frustrated and just having it like built inside of you, like, I just had to get it out because I can't talk to my wife about this. Again, as a student of Jets X Factor, I'm taking Zach for the rest of the season before answering that question. Sensei Joe, if you had to say right now, Jimmy G, Carr, or Wilson, you're taking Jimmy G or Carr. 157 people in here. I think 150 of you are taking Jimmy G or Carr. And the other 7 of you are wrong. At this point right now, you bet your life on Jets being more successful with Carr or Jimmy G in 2023 or Zach Wilson. You'd be a fool to say Zach Wilson. A fool. Jets are in the last place. Yep, first to last. From first to last. You're not wanting to bench Zach Blewett, really? No, I just said bench Zach. Bench Zach. They should have benched him this game. Bench him next week, too. They have to send a message to the locker room. That's not good enough. I'm fine with benching Zach Wilson. The thing is, as an organization, I understand that they know that Mike White's not the answer. They know that Flacco's not the answer. There might be a freaking throw in the dark, a shot in the dark that Zach Wilson's the answer, so they'll take that shot. That's the only thing I understand is that there's that 1%, and maybe I'm being hyperbolic. Maybe I'm being crazy. There's that 5% shot he turns it around. That's a lot better than Mike White being the franchise quarterback. That's a 0% chance. 0% chance. Flacco 0% chance. So they want hopefully that 5, and Zach Wilson has an elite turnaround 7 games. Is it going to happen? It's not. It's not. But there's at least a chance. you know. But again, literally, I have been, you know, for the people who tailgate with me, I get after it at games. I could hit a screen pass. I could hit a 15-yard screen pass, hammered out of my mind. I could hit a screen pass. Zach Wilson, who's making millions of dollars in the NFL, can't do it consistently. Yes. We can't pass. We can't run. That's why we're struggling on third and short so much. You guys are looking like clowns and right now. Keep believing Zach guys and play. Dude, I'm the clown, Chris. I'm the clown. You must be like 50. You must be like 6 years old and you've never watched bad quarterback play, because we've seen this with Geno. We've seen this with Sanchez. We've seen this with Darnold. And Zach has been worse than all those guys on a much better team. We had 2 yards in the second half. 2 yards. And you're talking about us being clowns when he's played more than one full season. It doesn't matter. He's looking absolute dog shit. Bet money, Chris, that he's going to be the quarterback of the future. Bet it. Clowns. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. How do you blame anybody for watching this bullshit and thinking he's the answer? So the guy could throw 45 fucking interceptions, and no matter what he does, you're going to say, oh, he only played in 17 games. He's the answer. So he could do whatever he wants, show absolutely no progress. And because he's only played in 18, 19 games, he's not the answer, right? So every single thing that he does bad does not matter to you. That awesome idea of how to handle a quarterback, of how to handle a quarterback position or anything. So anybody who sucks, you can say it for anybody. So you have an absolute bust of a first-round pick at offensive lineman. Even if he gives up 150 sacks, doesn't matter. It's his 17th game. Now, obviously, I'm being dramatic. Do you see how dumb that thinking is? How dumb that is? You have to see evidence of progress. Right tackle, corner. So you have a guy who gets beat for 3 touchdowns a game. Doesn't matter. It's his rookie year. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Josh Rosen, they shouldn't have got rid of him for Kyler Murray. Doesn't matter. It's his first year. We were stupid. Fools. Clowns. Stupid. That is dumb. Idiotic. Fucking idiots, bro. Joe, love to see you're incredibly angry. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. I was asking for a dog shit game from a quarterback. We would have won this game. It was below dog shit. Serviceable. Not even serviceable. Rich. Below average. Bad. We can have a bad starter in there and win that game. We could have Josh Rosen in there and won that game. We could legitimately. Chris Trevor probably wins that game. Doesn't matter. It's like 18th game. Doesn't matter. Got to give them 2 years, no matter what. Even if they're absolute dog shit, does not matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they look like David Carr. Doesn't matter if they look like what's the guy from the Raiders? Jamarcus Russell. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Josh Rosen. Doesn't matter. The biggest doesn't look. Vernon Golson. He didn't get what? Did he get a tackle as a Jet? 2 tackles. Doesn't matter. Give him time. Darnold was better than Zach. And I want to get rid of him very quickly in his 3rd year. But the thing is, the Jets are much farther along with this roster than they were with Darnold. So that's the problem. You don't have time to sit in your hands because the Jets are going to have to pay all these players. So you're in a great spot in terms of the roster, but you have to expedite the process in terms of figuring out the quarterback position because you are ready to compete right now. All these first-round picks, second-round picks that Douglas has accumulated and hit on, you have to pay them. All these guys are not going to be here for their careers. You can't hold on to everybody they have on the roster right now. There's no way. There's no way you're paying AVT, Sauce, Reed, Breece Hall, all these guys. So, hold on. All right. Okay, I'm gonna fly through the chat a little bit more. Derek Carr, no way. No. Y'all are reacting. It's 2 out of 3 games that have been the worst quarterback performances I've ever seen in my life. Okay. Is that a cat? Like, are you saying he's like a? Excuse my French, but I'd rather have a bitch at a quarterback. The quarterback is actually okay. I don't know what that's too. But Zach is a bust. At this point, he's not a bust. He has more time to prove he's not, but Jesus, dude. Let's see. Flying through the rest of this. Facts, I don't know what to, but yeah, dude, we deserve to be pissed. We've seen really bad quarterback play. This is the peak of the bad quarterback play. So the fact that he's played worse than Geno, worse than Sanchez, worse than Darnold, we have faith he's going to turn it around. Why? We've seen bad quarterback play before, and this is even worse than that. So why do we have faith in this guy? He has 7 games to have a miraculous comeback. If you go into if Zach has shown what he showed throughout the season for the rest of the year, you'd be an absolute dumb fuck to go into 2023 with just Zach as the answer. You're wasting the talent on the roster. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Same, Jay. I'd rather see Bam than Ty. Cooper Rush. No, I haven't watched enough, but no. You got to stop spamming, though, a little bit, buddy. Tyrone. I don't know if he keeps doing that, but 2 yards, not the NFL. No, it's not. It's the worst. 2 yards. Josh Rosen is better than Zach. Even Testaverde would be better. Dude. Reeves was in the building. Put him at quarterback. Jeff Smith. He's active. No one. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Edward Ziff. No on card. Yes, well, one. It's not. It's now you fucked me up. It's not. It's Gardner Minshew, and Minshew is bad. Minshew is not a good quarterback. So you're saying no to a quarterback who's a mid-level quarterback, and yes on Minshew, who's a backup right now. Appreciate the super chat, but no way. Minshew, I watched Keegan Cole film review. Minshew is dog shit. I don't care what his stats were. I don't care. Yeah. Man, Joe, I'm so pissed off right now. Zach at least could have taken credit for sucking. He refuses. Yeah, it's embarrassing. With a game like that, and you still don't take credit or blame for it, it's embarrassing. Again, I've seen quarterbacks throw for 300, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they can make every single play they're supposed to. Just because they lost, just because the schedule says L, they say it was my fault. I got to be better. Zach Wilson, nah. I don't know what he said, but nah. Bro. Account for commenting the bullet. You're more disappointed than the Florida, Zach? Come on, man. Yeah, Gary. I feel bad for you, man. I honestly feel bad for the older fans, and I also feel bad for the fans who just started to be fans in 2012 because they haven't seen anything good minus 1 year. If you're a young fan, you've seen the Jets the last 10 years of your life. 2015's it. That's it. And you had to do Gase and all this other bullshit. Beloved piece. The Justin Fields truther are going to be out in droves next week. I do remember fan base being split. Yeah. No, that's fine. The fan base is split, and I was definitely Wilson over Fields. I like his college film a lot more. I did hours and hours of breakdowns of why. Again, it's hard to predict sometimes. Listen, there's quarterbacks who hit in this. Listen, obviously this is the most dramatic example, but you have Tom Brady who was drafted in the 6th round. I'm sure there's nobody saying Tom Brady's the answer. It happens. So I'd rather have Brisket. If we have Jacoby Brisket, we win this game, right? Joe's poker filmer. You don't want to watch it. I don't want to do it. Yeah, I don't. But I'm going to, and I'm going to fucking roast everybody. The tackling, Zach Wilson, LaFleur are getting absolutely shit on this week. The offensive line, you can get you understand they're on their fucking 47th offensive lineman, but LaFleur, Wilson, the tackling was embarrassing. At a certain point, I tweeted dude, listen, guys, I get it's cold, but sack up, tackle. They did the same shit the last Patriots game. Awesome defensive performance. Again, mainly by the defensive line and the corners. But you ask the linebackers and the safety to tackle. Holy shit, it is ugly. It is ugly. Still have hope. Yeah, again, I have hope that in a dark room, I could hit a bullseye on a board after getting spun around fucking 17,000 times. There's hope I could do it somewhere in there, but I'm not betting on it. I'm hitting it. Would you? No, oh my God. I'd rather climb to my roof and jump off my face. Neither. This game, Carson Wentz probably wins that game. I'd rather for that game, individual game. Right now, let's say this. Neither are the quarterback next year, at least in my opinion. Right now, you told me next week, Zach Wilson or Carson Wentz to win the game. It's Carson Wentz. Tell me why not. I know at a certain point, Rich, we had more sacks than completions. Or no, we had more sacks than first downs. 9 completions, 7 or 8 punts. Yeah. He needs strong competition for QB1. He needs to be QB2 and prove he can be QB1. Alex, appreciate the super chat. Done with Zach. If the staff needs to make up an injury because they don't want to bench him, so be it. Him and his awful attitude are sinking our season. Yeah, the fact that he's not stepping up to it is even more of a sign that he's just not there mentally. Really. And I appreciate the super chat. The Yips are rearing their head again. Yeah. He's had the Yips, what? He's played 7 games? 4 out of 7 games? Dolphins. Right? The Packers game. Like, he was not good in that Packers game. Thank God for the running game and the defense. Appreciate you, Tyron, even though I'm pretty sure I just shit on you a couple minutes ago about Cooper Rush, but I appreciate you. It's so frustrating. And I listen, I haven't really talked to Jake. I don't know if that's true, but listen, and there were the people in the first release. I'm not saying Jake is this. I'm not really over familiar. I know people. I know he's like bigger. But there's people who are saying, oh well, we won the Broncos game and the Packers game. That is a shitty way to think. Such a shitty way to think. So because you won the game, you cannot criticize anybody. So because they won a game, you can't criticize the right guard. Because they won a game, you can't criticize the right tackle. So everybody, if you win, is good. That's that thinking. Like, what? At least our team is good. Appreciate you, Rich. Just don't have a confident quarterback. Not even playing well enough to be a decent backup. Right now, if we had Derek Carr, let's say you're not a Jets fan. If you've seen what Zach Wilson has done this season, he walks in as your backup, you're like, oh yeah, awesome backup. We're confident in that. I'd much rather have Jacoby Brissett. You're right, Luca. My dog does have better dog shit. Blow dogs. I don't know where I'm at. 5-7. I'm catching up. I'm about to end it though because I'm gonna eat and drink. I'm just gonna drink and watch football. I don't know. By the way, quick side note: I watched Mandalorian. I just finished the 2nd season. I was never a big Star Wars guy, but is Star Wars as good as the Mandalorian was? Because that show was awesome. So I might just drink and watch Star Wars tonight. I don't know what I'm doing. Gary, I for one appreciate you keeping it real, Joe. We all would love nothing more. Yeah, dude. Like I would give my soul for Zach Wilson to be the quarterback, but I'm not gonna have blind faith because I'm a Jets fan because he wears. Well, we don't wear green anymore. We wear white and black. But because he wears white and black, like I have to be transparent. I think that's where a lot of guys come here is because like I obviously do the film stuff and I have a lot of film background. So I don't bullshit you guys ever. This is bad. It is very, 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 very bad right now. And there's a very, very low shot that Zach Wilson's a quarterback. It's not it maybe a slight overreaction. No, it's not an overreaction. It's not an overreaction. He's been worse than all the other quarterbacks we've gotten rid of the last decade plus. So however you want to quantify, however you want to excuse that, do it. But look at what Donald's working with. Look what Zach was working with. Look at the games Donald's had. Look at the games that Zach's had. Zach is Trubisky with less mobility. Judon, I think whenever you have pressure on a guy like that, he looks at the Russian instead of having his eyes up. They're down. Panics, dude. He panics. Do you give the win any factor? Maybe on some throws, the win was a factor. But you also had Mac Jones who hit I don't know what his exact stats were. Like let's just say 75% of his passes. So we can't say the win wasn't an effect for Mac Jones, but it was for Zach Wilson. So no, it was certainly to some extent, but not enough to go throw for 9 completions and have 2 offensive yards in the second half. Let's see. Joe, in your opinion, what happened on the play with Sauce appeared to be force a fumble? You have to make a football move, and typically if the guy catches the ball, takes 1 step, it's almost like 2-3 turn up. So based on what I've seen in the NFL and how they call it, it's not a fumble. You have to legally make a football move. Now, do I think catching the ball and taking a step and a half is a football move? Yeah, you fucking caught the ball. Now, do I think it should be catch, step, bang? No. But a step and a half, 2 steps, I think it should be a fumble. So, but based on the way they call it, I don't think it's an unfair call for the Jets. Jets gang, yeah, it was. Again, when you have 1,000 injuries, it's going to be. It happens. I can't. It's hard to blame the offensive line. So, Joe Douglas built a great roster, and Wilson will ruin it. And that's why you cannot go into the 2023 season with him as your starter. If you go into 2023 with him starter, you're ruining that roster. And I'm not saying the roster won't be good for years to come, but this is the peak of how good it's going to be because you just invested all those draft picks, and guess what? You got to pay them. So I'm not going to address some of the other stuff in here that I see about. I'm not going to shit on any other streamers. I know my opinions. I listen to like Rogan and Bill Burr and like all those podcasts and stuff. I watch a lot of their own stuff myself, so I don't really need people's, like, some people I like to listen to because like they're entertaining, but yeah, it's what it is. It's a preference thing. But I watch like 10 hours of film a week. I don't really need anybody for my opinions or to form my opinions. Especially when I listen to people and I just know they're wrong. I'm like, oh my god, dude, how do people watch this shit? Like WFAN, how do you watch that? How do people watch that shit? How do people watch ESPN Radio? How do people watch a lot of these shows? We can clearly tell they don't know what they're talking about. But the problem is, a lot of people don't know what they're talking about as well, and they listen to those guys who are entertaining, and because they have followers or a platform, they assume they know what they're talking about. Or you have guys who slightly know what they're talking about with like film, and they put it out there like they're the shit, but people don't have no knowledge, so those people get elevated. They're like they're gods, and when really like film guys look at them, they're like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" Trust me. I know some guys, and I see some guys who I watch, like, whoa. And then people are like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like, it's not great. It's bad. Josh Allen, after one bad game, blames himself, says he'll do anything to be better. Zach Wilson, after 20 bad games, says he didn't let anyone else down. Yeah, fucking joke, Alex. It's a joke. Appreciate the super chat. It's a joke. That is, he is such a childish little bitch with that stuff. I'm sorry, he is. Should I be saying that? Jetix are the YouTube and owner of the site. No, I probably shouldn't, but fuck it. I totally agree. So many bad takes and people listen to them for some reason. This is why I agree. Or thank you, Rich. I appreciate you guys. I'm hopping off. Want to rant for a little bit. I clearly succeeded. I'm gonna get some shitty comments, whatever. Tell me where I'm wrong. I'll see you guys on Thanksgiving's obviously Thursday. Enjoy it. Don't be an idiot. Probably back on Friday to roast the team, do a film review. But I appreciate all of you, and I will catch you soon.